So you play PlayStation 5 on one TV to the next TV, and let's go to the other TVs all at the same time. So while OG lowers the TV, and since y'all enjoy me talking and waffling a lot, Oreo or Orio or I don't know, can't pronounce the names of these companies sometimes. They do not know who I am. They did not send this for review or anything. Just wanted to purchase this to fix the whole thing in my house so I could game and view NVRs on all the different TVs and do all the things, and this just does that. And of course, if you just want to skip all the crap, you can just find all the links down below and go do your own thing. But do hang out towards the end. I haven't asked for some people that could make a custom container or custom component to help me out. And yeah, I will pay you. Patio TV to PS5, right? Yes. It'll switch over. Boom, we got PlayStation. Even shows HDR in the top. Well, it went off real quick, get to be quick. And yeah, the PlayStation controllers are pretty bomb for how far they go from the PlayStation itself. Let's jump inside. I wouldn't go to the other TV. We're in the living room. You can still see the same PS5 stuff, just works right off the same exact switch. This is the part I do want to change to get all these buttons off. I'd rather like 4 drop downs. But yeah, so like if I want to switch on over to living room TV over to the cameras, I can view Blue Iris. Takes a few seconds to switch over inputs, but now I can see Blue Iris and I can see that on this TV. You can put multiple inputs, outputs exactly however you want. The really cool part, you can see the game. I'm back outside on the back patio, and when we look in the living room, you can see the same exact game he's playing inside. So yeah, look, I'll see if I can get it in frame, both of them. You should be able to see them change at the same exact time. So it's pretty awesome that you can watch exactly what's on 2 TVs at the same exact time. And they're 4K HDR. See, we're in OG's room. His TV is hooked up to one of the inputs, so he can pick exactly whatever box he wants. He can pick PS5. We can play PS5 in the other rooms. The PS5 controllers go anywhere in the house pretty much. Now, he does have an installed Xbox OG right here, but that's more because I have one in the other cabinet as well, so we can do some Halo old school LAN play. But it's pretty awesome being able to see all of your game and stuff. You can game around the house, huh, OG?
Yes, sir.
One thing I have found an issue with, this is an older TV in our craft room, kind of our little junk room with the weight bench and everything inside for OG, and it is not a 4K TV, and I just ran an HDMI cable to it, but the 4K stuff won't work because it tries to send 4K to it. Now in the master bedroom, we can do the same thing and select, the Blue Iris camera so we can see the things. And of course, we can switch it over to PlayStation 5 as well. So we change it over to PlayStation 5, no problem. OG can play all of his things. We can play together from the master bedroom as well. Still running the same output on the living room TV as well as the patio. You could set all 4 TVs to the same exact input if you want. So all I did in my little networking cabinet is I mounted the HDMI switch. You can come in here and push the buttons if you like. You can go in here, you can turn it off and on. It does have infrared, but it's closed in my cabinet. This shows TV 1, and then you have which input to pick. Same thing, 2, 3, and 4. Now you do get Cat 6 outputs to those, and you get HDMI, so you can duplicate the output of one of these TVs. Like if I want to do OG's TV and the weight room, the same exact. If they are 4K, you can do that together. And pretty neat little switch. And of course, it does connect Ethernet, and that allows me to pick things on Home Assistant straight from the phone. Like if I want to do Master TV to PS5, that should change. I do Master TV to BI, that should give us a different output. You can see it just changed over output 2 to number 4. And if I want to change it to the other NVR, you can get number 3, all changed from the phone. It's pretty quick. since it's all local using Telnet. But there's one thing I want to change, which I'll go over some of the inputs and the GUI settings towards the end of the video. This is Cat 6 that goes out and ties into my patch panel up here, which then leads out to the other TVs, and I'll show you what happens on that side. Starting to get dark out here, but basically what happens is I got Cat 6 that runs into this little box here. There's no additional power. It powers straight over the Cat 6 cabling. And then you just run HDMI over to the side of the TV, and that is freaking it. It converts Cat 6 straight over through HDMI, HDR, 4K, no problem at all. Now this is a 4 input, 4 output. So then you get 4 selections, like say 4 game machines, and then you get 4 TVs, which then you can duplicate to another 4 TVs over HDMI if you want to do that way. So kind of what I have set up here is in my cabinet, I have the PS5 here, Xbox One, and I have an OG Xbox. Now this OG Xbox is not in the matrix switch. I just have an HDMI over to my TV directly behind me. But then I was kind of cheap. I didn't want to get the 8x8. I didn't have 8 TVs. I would have loved a 6x6, but they didn't make that. The 8x8 is pretty expensive, so I opted for the 4x4. And then I had this in my box of things. Back in there, you'll see it's a 4x1 switcher. Well, I guess they're calling it a 5x1. And basically, I do get a couple inputs on that, and still it'll automatically switch from the Switch and the Xbox One. And if I wanted to throw something else in here, I could. And that way, that those 2 game devices, we don't game with those at the same time. And those feed into output number 2. And that way we can play Xbox One, Switch, PS5. And then because we do have 2 of the OG Xboxes, we can play that in 2 of the locations. But yeah, that's for some fun old school Halo LAN play. Now my third input, I have the Reolink MVR because, you know, Reolink gonna be Reolink with their cameras. But you can see sometimes I have an input, if you don't use it for a while, it'll start this glitching. That's the only issue I have with this whole box setup, but the fix is stupid easy. You just go to it and come back. Like, I don't know why, but once you resync it, for some reason, I guess it picks a different channel and it has no issue. It's the only issue I have with it. It's not too bad to deal with. It's kind of rare. So of course it works better at night when we can just sit out here and chill, especially when the cooler months get here eventually. And yeah, just showing here, this is the TV in the back patio. And the TV in the living room, you can see it's showing the same exact thing at the same exact time. You can actually have all 4 TVs showing the same exact input if you want, without any HDCP issues or anything like that. This is all 4K HDR content that's showing on the PlayStation 5 right now. Hey, hit the thing on the settings. So you can see on the PlayStation 5, it is showing 4K, 60 hertz. And it's showing HDR and HDCP 2.3 without any issues. So pretty awesome there, and it goes across all the TVs. So one thing I did find this mount, it's more like a basketball style mount, like kind of like a basketball, like a church or something. I found some other ones, but they all seem to have this weird, they don't go to 90-degree angle. And I wanted this to be flat out exactly over this brick thing. So then we had to make this special little angled mount, but hey, it worked, and I was gonna paint it white and do the thing. It does have a power supply up there, and then I ran just the Cat 6 cabling down to the converter itself. I didn't do Cat 5 into the TV just yet, but I did run another run to it for data. We just don't watch much Netflix out here. And then when we're done with it, we can go ahead and put it up. One thing I did find, I didn't have any extra buttons on it, so I couldn't put it into Home Assistant. So I think I'm gonna have to do is just get an extra remote, because it's 2.4 gigahertz. and just do like a little relay or optocoupler on it. That way I can put the TV up and down when there's, like rain or whatever. So it tucks up under there, so then we don't have any issue, and we can still, not have to bump into it or whatever when we're walking by. You ready to go rollerblade, OG?
Yes, sir.
Let's go, bro. Turn the TV off. Let's talk about the little bit of the layout and how this damn thing is wired. Now, of course, I'm using the box and all I have is pictures and stuff, and I've got a bunch of internal pictures if you're curious and everything. I'll show that instead of you looking at my ugly mug and I ramble and waffle on, as some people say. Embrace the trolls. So the layout of this damn thing is pretty damn nice. Now, there are a couple different models. Now, of course, prices are subject to change, and I wish I could have afforded this one. It runs like around $1,000 on Amazon. You can get some of these on sale. This one was pretty awesome. It had the 8 receivers and 8 inputs. I really wish they had like a 6x6, but they don't have that. I don't have 8 TVs, and I don't think I'm gonna get 8 TVs in my small house. Now, whether you get the 4X or the 8X, if you're gonna be the high roller, if somebody wants to buy one and send me one, that's be great. But hey, I'm happy to have the 4X one because here's the layout of this thing. They do have Ethernet on here, so we'll get to that later. That's the ask. I have kind of a bounty out there. I would like for someone to help me out, do a component. Now, they do have RS-232. I didn't use that, but here's the way this works, is you've got the 4 HDMI inputs. So that's like where I plugged all my MVRs in, and then I plugged in like the Xbox, and then one of these, I plugged in a 4x1 switch that auto switches, and that allows me to switch between the Xbox One and the Switch. And so that gives me kind of like a pseudo 5 inputs or 6 inputs or more if I fill those up. Then these boxes, which are the little converters I showed on the back of my TV, they're connected, and I would recommend to do Cat 6 cabling. I did try Cat 5e. It was just okay, and I had a couple issues. So I ran new Cat 6 or Cat 6a, the stiffer cable. I ran that to these boxes, to all the TVs, and it does power over Ethernet. So there's no power to them. It powers straight from here. You run the Cat 6 cable, and then all you need to do is run HDMI from there. Get a decent quality HDMI cable. Don't cheap out. Go dig around Amazon. Usually you get what you pay for on there. You can look at the gauges and everything. I'll leave a link to some of the cables I used. And then you just run HDMI to the TV. I didn't use the IR thing. I didn't really need to because, we're just gaming and everything. I wasn't changing channels. Now, of course, if you want to do that, you can. And then you'll notice you also get HDMI right here. So that's why they call this like they have like 5 TVs on here. Technically, you could, which is what I do plan on doing, is picking up another cheap 4K HDR TV once one goes on sale or is priced wrong again, like my patio one, thanks to the hot deals discussion section on my Discord. So this is all, it's fairly simple. There's 4 inputs in and 4 TVs out, up to, I guess, if you want to mirror those, up to 8 TVs out. And it all does HDCP and everything, 4K HDR, no issues there. And then you just power the damn thing with the power, and then Ethernet. So let's talk about the Ethernet stuff. And just to give you an idea of what the dream is about that, true 8 TVs and 8 inputs at the same time. That's pretty badass, but the box is, like I say, around $1,000 for the box. And then it gives you all the little, transmitters, receivers, whatever you want to call them. It's a pretty badass little deal there. So for the Ethernet stuff, it does have a WebGUI. Like, you can come in and say the video, you can change, hey, what's the outputs and the cat output. You can change all that stuff right here. We don't use the WebGUI much. You can see what inputs are set to what right now. You can see that it's active and like the PS5 is not on. And then you can set what you want. Like this is going to be 4K 60 HDR. and then DTS, etc. The NVRs, I'm just using 4K 30. Then the Switch and the Xbox One, you have to think the Xbox One's an older one, so I only have 1080p on that. It shows like, hey, there's an HDMI or the CAT. The CAT output is the little media converter box. You can see it shows all of those are active. The green one you can't see behind my big head is actually back here. Output 4 shows you all boxes are open. You do have the CEC stuff where you can send commands over HDMI. And so then you could send over stuff here, and you can send stuff to the TVs. You can turn TVs on if they support CEC. That's those, I forget what it stands for. That's the commands over HDMI. It does have Telnet. And the cool part about Telnet is, yeah, this is why I want to get into this. This is my Home Assistant GUI of this. This is my bootleg way of doing this. If there is somebody out there able to help me, I would love to have a component, whether it even be HACS, or my preference really would be like a 2 MQTT container that would pull this over Telnet. You can send it commands, and it uses regular Telnet, of course. The ultimate goal would just be 4 entities here with a drop down. So you may laugh at what exactly I've done to pull up all those switches. Is I just made some bootleg little Telnet platform switches and just put the IP address, and then the command on and off is the same. And it just sends S input 1, AV out 1, and then you have to put the exclamation point to like in the line. And that changes that input over, 1 to input 1. And it's pretty simple. And of course, you can do this inside of Telnet. Is you'd put that in, paste it in, and it beeps and it says, okay, we changed input 1 to output 1 now. You can query the state of the unit. So we'll say like R status. Let's see if that one works. Probably when like say Home Assistant started to send the R status. And that way you can grab all the stuff where like, hey, input 1, disconnected, input 1 is going to output 1, and etc. You kind of get the gist of it. It's really stupid simple. It seems like it would be easy to build a component to just do all this and have a simple control in Home Assistant. And it's all freaking local because, yeah, it's just stupid Telnet. So hopefully you enjoyed this little matrix of things with my switch and stuff. I know we used the absolute hell out of this thing. It was very well investment of money and time to get all this set up and do the TV and everything. I know the wife really enjoys it, being able to change all the inputs based on what she wants to do or watch. And then it allows OG and I, where we can go play PS5 together or whatever it is, what gaming console, we can go play it in whatever room we want without bothering people and doing all the things. And speaking of the devil, there he is. I think he's waiting to come and tell me goodnight, but I'll get his 2 cents on what he says about the Matrix switch. And I don't think you've seen the movie Matrix anyway, right? You got to watch that. We'll make sure and fix that. So what do you think about the gaming switch thing?
It's pretty cool where I can be in one room playing, and they in secret they can just be watching me on the PlayStation over here.
Yeah, we were watching him one night. He was playing The Sims and he was getting married and stuff and got all embarrassed. But then it's awesome. I mean, you can play stuff with your mom on the Switch and everything and jump around. And you don't have to unhook and do all the wire crap like we used to do and change stuff around.
We just push a simple button.
Yep, definitely spoiled. So, yep, that'll about do it for this one. Of course, you can find all the links down below if you want to check one out. And yeah, if you can help me out with a component or no other switches or ways to do this, let me know down below. I would do appreciate it to get some programming help on that. Yep, and that'll about do it for this one. Y'all know the drill. Press all them buttons.
And y'all take care.
coming up to you on your left. There's OG. OG is a trained professional. Don't try this at home. Super perfect.